Okay, so really quickly, I want to start a video that is about using the ruler to align shapes. Of course, we have our alignment tool up here. So if I'm going to bring in two shapes really quick. And then we know that we can align those shapes just by using our alignment tool. So we can bring them together in alignment like that. But when we bring them together using center, we end up with two shapes. So again, if I choose to align these two shapes, I can bring them together, but they always overlap using these some of these right-left tools when they're identical. The other thing that I can't do with the align tools, I can't bring this inside face to this inside face, and we want to be talking about how to do that today. So to do that, we're going to use the ruler tool. This is a new tool for us. If I take that ruler, I can just drag it down to space, and I can just drop it arbitrarily here onto my work plane. Now, if I choose that object, just this one square, I can manipulate it. Of course, I've got all my dimensions. It's a 20 by 20 by 20 cube, this box is. But I've got some extra dimensions now. It gives me all my dimensions. But if you look, it's got, from its origin here, I've got new dimensions. In this case, it's 26 by 26, 26 millimeters out on X, 26 millimeters up on Y, and I can edit those and make those 0. And that brings this cube directly to the origin space, which is handy because now I know if my cube is 20 wide, that the corner of that cube is here. So I'm going to use my ruler tool to align this tool to it. So if I make that one, now it's going to give me my distance, X and Y. This one also is 26 up on Y. I'm going to make that 0. But instead of making this 0 here, I'm going to discount that and make it 20 so that this corner here will move over to the position of 20. That's the distance from the origin. So I just make that 20 in this case. Then these two cubes are right next to each other. You can see they're in the same, they're in a sort of joined position now. Of course, they're not joined yet because we haven't done the grouping. Go back to the home view. But all I have to do now is I can select these two things and group them. And then I have one object. I'll brought those two things together face to face. Of course, I wouldn't necessarily do that with two cubes, right? I would just I just go and make a box that was 20, and I would just extend this dimension out to 40 and do that. But if I'm trying to join any sort of custom shapes that I've made, one to another, a face to a face, it's going to come in handy to know how to use this ruler tool. The same thing, that ruler allows you to place objects relative to other objects in position. For instance, and that's where the real use case is. For instance, if I wanted to take this and I wanted to offset this, I'm going to relative to the ruler, I'm going to make, because this is 40 out here now to this edge. So I'm going to make the distance there 40. So that aligns it that way. But let's say I wanted to make it, I wanted this to overlap by half. I can control the position of this in detail or precisely by saying if that's 20 wide and I want them to overlap by half, so that this value would be 10. And now we have that, again, precise relationship between these two objects, and then we can group them or ungroup. Similarly, I can take this object here. I wonder if I can ungroup that. Yes, I can. Back to its original cubes. So if I wanted an intermediary step, then I can take this one object and I can make that 0 into a 5. And I've got transitional steps, but that's a few ways that you can see how to control or using the origin on your ruler tool, how to control and move things around relative to each other. And then again, I can group these together. And I've got perfect marriage between these things, instead of just mashing things together and being imprecise. If you want to be precise with what you're doing, if you want to avoid weird edges and overlaps, you can use the ruler tool to do this. Anyway, that's the end of the video.